she taught me how to take myself out of my own perspective and look at things from like an objective viewpoint and look at things as archetypes and symbologies and metaphors. And believe me, this has come in handy not only for myself, but for so many people. Oh snap, like this is not a good situation. I can just feel like that this is not where I want to be right now. And so one of the girls from behind gets off the horse and she's like, so you're the one that's been shooting, our animals with your bow and arrow. And I'm like, what? No, I'm literally riding my bicycle. I'm just trying to get home. Guess what? Nobody else around you knows what's best for you. You know what's best for you. Hey guys, so today on my channel, I'm going to do a dream interpretation for myself because one thing that you may not know about me is I love to interpret dreams. So I actually first began doing this when I was in therapy. I started seeing a Jungian psychologist around the age of 17 when I was going through a lot of depression and anxiety as being a highly sensitive person and an empath in a world that did not support those things, and I didn't even know what they were at the time, so it didn't matter. But regardless, I was in a bad place, and I started seeing a psychologist, and I was so emotional illiterate that I couldn't even explain to her what I thought was wrong. This is the crazy part. I couldn't even tell her what I thought was wrong because I didn't know. I didn't understand what feelings were mine, what feelings were other people's. I was like, it's just overwhelming, And so I started coming to her and saying, well, I don't know what to talk about today, but I had this dream. And so she was the one, her name was Carol, and Carol, I love you, and I will speak your name into the heavens till the day I die because you literally changed my life. And this is why we all need mentors, people. This is why we all need mentors. This is why we all need guides. This is why we all need coaches, because they change our lives. Anyways, so I started seeing her when I was 17, and she would interpret my dreams, and she would give me the symbolism. And at this point, I freaking loved school. I was such a bookworm. I was like a sponge. I just absorbed everything. So she would give me the metaphors and the interpretation, and she taught me how to take myself out of my own perspective and look at things from like an objective viewpoint and look at things as archetypes and symbologies and metaphors. And believe me, this has come in handy not only for myself, but for so many people. And actually, maybe one of these days I'll have somebody come on and we'll like do a dream interpretation like live or something like that. I think would be kind of a cool idea. So let me know in the comments below. Ooh, here we go. If you have a dream, put it in the comments below, and then maybe we can collaborate on a video and I will invite you on to interpret your dream. So if you have a recurring dream or a dream that like threw you off, or if it's just like a recent dream that you want to have, put it in the comments below and I will send you an interpretation and see what you think about them. This would be a really interesting experiment. I'm excited for this. Okay, cool. So moving on. So that's how I learned to interpret dreams. I've always been really gifted when it comes to metaphors. I've always been super into poetry, so I've always really liked, kind of playing with words and symbols in that way. And then also like the cultural significance to different symbols, I think has always been really interesting to me. Like in China, colors in China, the symbology of them, like white, I believe in China is the color for death, whereas here we wear white to a wedding, right? So like the differences in cultural significances, I think is so interesting, and like what that does to our psyche. Like there's some people that, see an owl and they're like, oh, that's wisdom. But there's also some people that see an owl and they're like, oh, that's a totem of death. So it really is super dependent on the person, and that's why I think dream interpretation is so key and so important. And that's why sometimes I don't love when people Google on dream interpretation, because it can mean so many different things to so many different people. So dream interpretation is really about finding out what symbols mean to you, because I highly believe that I highly believe that our dreams are our higher self and our subconscious mind like really speaking to us through images and symbols that we would recognize and that have personal significance. So, sorry guys, that's my alarm. I'm supposed to be taking a break right now, but we're really filming a video, so we're just gonna keep filming the video. So yeah, so that's the thing, is dreams are so personally significant, and I could tell you what my dreams mean for me, but you may have a completely different symbol. There's like overarching ones, but a lot of times they're very personal to the person. So without further ado, let's get into the dream. So the dream was, I was riding on this like kind of small like scooter bicycle. Like in the dream I was calling it a bicycle, and I was passing this beautiful countryside, and I was passing this like amazing tulip farm, and I was like, wow, it's so beautiful. Maybe I'll take my mom back there with me next time I go. And as I was riding on this bicycle, I started going on this path in the countryside, and the grass was like super tall. It was like as tall as me, and it was just such thick, lush grass. And I was like, you know, riding down the countryside on like a gravel road, and it was like a really thin path. Like it was only wide enough to like hold like me, like a little bit wider than me. It wouldn't be like a two-way street or anything like that. It was like very, very, very small. And so then as I'm riding, I kind of like look down, and I'm like, ooh, like there's a dead baby goat right there. And I kind of keep going, and then I like see another one, and I'm like, that's really like a kind of WTF moment. Like, ew, what is that, and why? And I'm sad and like just weird. And so I keep going. And then I come up on this girl that's riding a horse. So I'm coming up on like the horse's butt kind of. And the girl sees me, and she looks behind me like acknowledging that she knows that I'm there. But like I wouldn't be able to pass her because the road is so skinny. And then I look behind me, and there's another girl on a horse coming up behind me. And I'm like, okay, well, now I'm like sandwiched in between these two horses and like this very tall wall of grass on either side of me. And so then I realize that these girls are not here to help me. And so basically one of them stops, the one in front stops, and the one in back stops. So they like sandwich me together between them. And I'm like, oh snap, like this is not a good situation. I can just feel like that this is not where I want to be right now. And so one of the girls from behind gets off the horse, and she's like, so you're the one that's been shooting, you know, our animals with your bow and arrow. And I'm like, what? No, I'm literally riding my bicycle. I'm just trying to get home. Like, I'm just trying to get home. I'm not out here. I'm not shooting anything with anything. Okay. Like, that's not me. And so they take me in, and then I'm basically in like an interrogation room with the barn owner, and we're at the barn in like the barn office. And so for you guys that don't know this, I grew up with horses, so horse significance happens a lot for me in dreams, and this is what I'm talking about when I say things are more personal to certain people. Like to other people, they'd be like, why the hell am I in a barn? But for me, that's like a significant place because I grew up with horses. So keep that in mind. So we're in this like office, and I'm being interrogated, and she's like, I know you have this bow and arrow. I know you do. And she's like pointing to my like scooter bicycle, and I'm like looking at my scooter bicycle, and I'm like, I actually recognize in the dream, I'm like, oh shit, like it does kind of look like a bow and arrow. I could see how you can see from that perspective that this thing that I have here looks like a bow and arrow. And so then what ends up happening is I'm like trying to put the bicycle together so I can ride it around the office and show them like, no, it's not a bow and arrow. It's literally my bicycle. It's my way to get home. Like I just came back, and so I was telling them the story, and this is actually true to my real life right now, is I just got back from Africa, and like I literally have nothing else. I don't have anything else but this bicycle, but this thing that's gonna get me on this one path. Like that's all I have. I don't have anything else, so please don't take this from me. And so from there, they start to kind of like soften, and like, you know, the overall tone and like tenor of the dream was like, I felt so defensive. Like I really had to defend myself and say like, look, I promise you I'm not this bad guy that you think I am. I promise you I'm not that. And then, I really felt like I felt so strong in my truth of what I knew to be true, even though I was being questioned so hard on like that I was the bad guy. And then I woke up. Ta-da! I don't actually think we had a resolution to that dream, because what that dream was doing was it was alerting me to parts within myself. Okay, so here's the cool part. Ready? We're going to interpret this dream. Okay, so for me, I was riding along, right? Having this beautiful day, looking at this beautiful tulip garden. I was on my way home, right? So for me as a soul, I've always had this thing where when I'm feeling lost, I'm always like, I just want to go home. It's like a Dorothy moment. It's like a Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz moment where I'm like, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. And to me, that's like to my soul's truth, to my true self, to my path. Like that's where I feel at home, is like when I'm in my center, and not a physical home. But so I'm on this path home, right? And so then there's these two girls that want to take me off that path. Right? And so I'm seeing these two girls as versions of myself that are questioning my own reality, right? So long story short, okay, I was on this African adventure with my significant other at the time and then another friend. And essentially what happened is we all got into, some big issues interpersonally, especially me and my significant other. And I met somebody else during this trip and realized like, oh my God, I don't love you anymore. And 100 million other things happen. So just keep in mind that I'm keeping this story very short. 100 million other things happen. I decide to leave this trip. I fall freaking in love with the other person that I met on this trip, who lives in South Africa. And my next goal in life in a couple weeks/month is to go back to South Africa to be with this person. That is my truth, is my path, is my divine love, all these things. However, there's people that see me as the person with the bow and arrow, right? So here's what I'm interpreting of myself, is there are outside forces, right, that are trying to take me off my path, which are other people's opinions and seeing me as the bad guy, right? So there's this element of this bicycle, right? What is a bicycle? A bicycle is a mode of transportation, right? A bow and arrow is a weapon. So in this dream, my bicycle is being confused for a weapon. My mode of transportation is being confused as a weapon. Because there's these two parts inside of me that are warring with myself. One part of me that's saying I should feel guilty because this mode of transportation looks like a weapon from the outside. There are other people that think that I have a weapon, that I'm the bad guy, right? Because of what happened in this trip, what happened between me and my significant other. But really, the dream is telling me to be in your truth. That it's okay if you feel like you need to defend yourself, but you know your truth. You know that this thing is a bicycle. You can take it apart, you can put it together, you can ride it, you can show that this thing is a bicycle. You know what it is. So no matter who else around you tells you that this thing is a bow and arrow, you have to stick to your truth. And this is a message really for the entire collective, is like, there are so many people I know, especially empathic, highly sensitive, people in the spiritual realm, that people will look at you and they will just tell you that you are crazy. They will not understand. Do you know how many people told me that you need to be single for way longer from one relationship into another? Why? Why? Where does that belief come from? Where? Like, tell me where that belief comes from. Where did I learn that from? Because I told myself that. I came home for 5-6 months in between going back there because I needed to be single, which is sometimes true, but is it true for everybody? No. And is it for you to listen to other people to tell you what's best for you? No. Part of being independent is listening to your heart, to your truth, to staying true to your path, to following your divine guidance. not what other people say is your divine guidance. Because believe me, listen to me when I tell you how many people told me, do not go to Africa. You will not be able to make it. Something bad's going to happen to you. You need to watch out. And guess what? I wouldn't be able to be here telling this story if I didn't go, if I didn't follow the path, if I didn't stay with my significant other until the moment I couldn't take it anymore. I would have never met this amazing, beautiful human soul that I am currently with. It wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have been possible to happen. It was because I listened to me, what I wanted to do. Okay? That's why. So when people tell you that you're crazy, when they say, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, hey, keep your fear off me. Because those are your projections. Those are your projections of what you think I should do. But guess what? Nobody else around you knows what's best for you. You know what's best for you. And I'm sorry, I'm getting on a rant right now. I'm getting all fired up, and I'm saying, we were just doing a dream interpretation. This turned into like a full-on, I don't even know. But let's get back to the dream. So this is the idea, right? Is I have this beautiful thing that's getting me to where I need to go. And other people are perceiving it as a weapon, and that's okay. There's a part of me, right, that still feels the need to defend myself, that still feels the need to make this relationship smaller, to say I'm not that excited to, but all of that is just because I'm feeling defensive of what other people will think of me. Because I don't want other people to think I'm a bad person. That's never my intention. It's never my intention to hurt other people. It's only my intention to follow my path. Right? So this dream, this beautiful dream that had me shook when I woke up, I was like, whoa. And it took me some time to really take a step back from that and really interpret it. And it's telling me, hey, look, yeah, people are going to think you have a weapon. In some perspectives, you do have a weapon. But in your perspective, you have a bicycle. So look at this in your own life. Where are you allowing other people's perspectives to influence what you're doing, who you think you are, where you think you should be going next? Where are we not really in alignment with ourselves? Because that's what this dream was asking me. Where am I not in alignment with myself? Where could I be truer? Where could I be more trusting? Where can I stand in my truth? When other people are questioning my truth, how can I be stronger in that way? Because that's all right here. That's all the solar plexus, baby. That's all our personal power. Yeah. So that's the dream. That's the dream. Like I said, if you guys have any interesting ones that you want to put down below, or even if you want to book a session with me, I do dream interpretation sessions. Typically, they're a 30-minute session. I have them on my website, which I'll put the information down below for that as well. But yeah, this is part of the modalities that I use as a coach on a regular basis. And you know what? I love doing it. I really, really... Sorry, guys. I'm getting a call. Okay, sorry. I thought that was going to mess with the recording, but it looks like it didn't. So yeah, that's a modality that I really love to use. I really love to use it because we're always getting messages in, and the more that we can learn to speak with the universe on our terms, the stronger our relationship not only becomes with ourselves, but also becomes with our higher self, right? Because they're really one and the same. So it's about finding your inner guidance and finding, the codes and the messages that are unique to you so that you can have a stronger relationship, which means you're going to have more faith and more trust in your own path as well. So I just want to share that with you guys. Again, if you're interested, please visit my website. I would love to work with you, of course. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this video. Let me know, do you like the dream interpretations? Do you want more of them? Sometimes I feel like I'm dreaming on a collective level. And most often the times, obviously, because we're all connected, the things that are coming up in my dreams are also coming up for you guys. So I don't know. if you like it, let me know down below and I'll keep doing it. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, comment, like, give me all the love that you can. Thank you. Big love, Serena.